I wanted to call this No Mistake Friday, but I opened the show up with the mistake. I started out immediately with the. I don't know how that happened. I don't know. I don't know. Thank you all for coming back after the train wreck that was yesterday. I apologize. You guys are great. I sat down and watched the whole video, and you'll notice I uploaded the video of Rick's interview to YouTube. The live portion goes just over an hour and 25 minutes. The edited portion comes in around 50. So that'll give you a pretty good idea of how many screw-ups there were in the show last night. Welcome to Lenny Schmidts Quarantine Comedy. I am here. This is Lenny Schmidt. I am Quarantine Comedy. Thanks for the show. Thanks for being at the show. We're here live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 6 o'clock live, Facebook Live. Also, YouTube Live. I'm switching everything to YouTube Live very soon. In fact, if you want to, you can go over and watch the show on YouTube Live right now. You can just go to my channel. It's Lenny Schmidt Comedy, and then you'll see it's live. So go there and check that out. In fact, if you can, do me a favor, subscribe to that channel, please. That's where Lenny Schmidt's Quarantine Comedy is going to be airing later this month on a regular basis. Also, I'm uploading all the videos there, as you know already. Like all the videos, please. Apparently, that's a really big deal with YouTube. They want you to like the videos. And it's not good enough for you to just like it, and tell people about it, or just go to bed and go, that was really entertaining video. No, they want to see it in some sort of cartoon visual. So, I'm liking my video. Look, here we go. Bam. I just liked my video. Look at that. I can unlike it too, I think. Oh, look, there's another like. Keith Runyon is watching on YouTube. Thank you very much, Keith Runyon. The rest, wow, lots of you guys are here on Facebook. Thanks for coming. First of all, let's cover this real quick. There is a special show next week. I've mentioned once or twice on Tuesday. Very special show. Tom Dreesen will be here. I am honored and thrilled to have Tom Dreesen here. He just wrote a new book. The name of it escapes me because I'm a horrible host. But he will be on the show Tuesday. He's supposed to have a book tour. Obviously, that got flipped or changed, so he won't be touring or doing any book touring. But he will be on my show Tuesday. Very special show. And we have other guests here next week. I'll let you know who they are later on. Also, if you let's mention the sponsors too. That's very important. I always mention the sponsors of the show. It's really the first thing I want to do. Let's see. We've got still. Normally I go. We have no sponsors. But that is not necessarily the truth. Actually, today's show is sponsored by Vincent and Tammy Mulroy. The Mulligans. I'm sorry, Conroy Mulligan. That's what screws me up. Vincent and Tammy Mulligan are sponsoring tonight's show. I can't thank you guys enough. They supported. Also, if you're interested in supporting yourself, you can go to Venmo. Look right there. Bam. Also, as the Mulligans pointed out to me, lots of people don't use Venmo. Some people are old school and they still use PayPal. So there's the PayPal information for the show. You can sponsor the show on PayPal. Go to Lenny Schmidt's Quarantine Comedy at Gmail, and you can PayPal some cash there if you are interested. Also, my deal stands. Anyone that donates or supports $25 gets a copy for free, a download copy of my new album, Secret Daddy, which has been out for a couple of weeks now. If you donate as much as $50, I will give you a download copy of all of my albums. Every single album I have streaming, you will get a copy of. That is 3, count them, 3 total albums. I have 3 more that are missing somewhere. They're in discs. They're old school. I can't even find. Annie has the only copy of my first album that I am aware of, and she won't give it to me. So that's all I know is my oldest daughter is holding it hostage. But if you want to sponsor $50 for the show, all of the proceeds that you donate toward this show honestly goes to pay for all of the software that I bought, the stuff that I screw up on every night. Yeah, that's the stuff I need to pay for. Even though I don't use it correctly, I still need to pay for it. That's pretty much the way it goes. I didn't see anything in the news. I didn't see a whole lot of stuff. Baseball's in trouble. If you're a baseball fan, it's not looking good. I got news for you. People are testing them. They canceled the Toronto games. It's not good. Sports are in trouble. Basketball's doing great though. Basketball came off last night out, and apparently they have this amazing system. And the reporters were talking about it. They're in this dome. And listen to this, man. This is like when I went. This is like Westview High School, actually, or Westview Middle School. We had pods in Westview. They have domes. They have a dome with pods. And here's the deal: if you're everybody playing in the green pod, they only associate with people in the green pod. So when you enter, it tells you where to go, and you can't touch stuff. It's an amazing system. They got it all down, and it looks like basketball is going to be able, knock on wood, to have a decent a little playoff thing there. I'm happy for them. Hockey starts tomorrow. The Blackhawks play tomorrow, so I am really hoping that they can do something similar with hockey. I personally think baseball's in trouble, and I really think football is in trouble. I'm just guessing on that. Don't hold me to it, because I am no professional. Let's say hello to all the wonderful people that are here. First of all, Larry Warden is here. We should give him credit for being a sponsor as well. He's constantly feeding me some sort of information and help. A lot of help. And then the Mulligans are here. Thank you guys so much again. I really appreciate it. Robin Greenberg is here. I have to make sure I say Robin's name. She gets really angry when I don't mention her name. Rick from Zanies is here. Nice. Rick Geiser is here from Zanies. He handles all the PR and the press and the scheduling and everything for all the Zanies clubs in the Chicago area. He's a great guy. I miss him. I don't know if I'll ever see you again, Rick. I don't know if I'll ever get back to Chicago. I'm not sure. I hope so. Jeanette Bryant's here, friends from high school. Okay, I got friends from high school. That's nice. Also, Mike Garcia is here. I'm checking. Oh, look at everybody's on YouTube. I love it. The Runions are on YouTube. They're the only people on the page that have YouTube. Look, make little comments. Water polo. This is great. I'm liking it. This is fantastic. All right, let's get things going here. What do you say? So far, there's only been one mistake. That was definitely my error, my mistake. Let's see if I can do something decent. Let's see if I can do something when I'm screwing it up now. Let's give this a shot. Folks, right now, my guest tonight is a gentleman, one of the many gentlemen I have in the show that I have known for probably 25 years, 30 years. We've known each other, I'm sure, pre-wife, pre-child, pre-divorces. I don't know where we're at as far as all of that stands. But we've worked together at every club in Chicago there ever was. We worked at every club there was in Indiana. We've worked together quite a lot, folks. Well, you know what? I'm going to show you who it is right now. Let's take a look at my good friend, Mr. Brian Noonan. Here he is. This is Brian Noonan.
Unless your baby is some Amazon, I think it'll be more. If you've never seen a Diaper Genie, it is a testament to false advertising. Because they name it the Genie so that you think the smell will magically disappear. It does not. No, you're just brewing up a little Hiroshima cloud down there. Because what happens is the baby fills the diaper. And you're going to find this out too. What it fills the diaper with is nothing like what you put in its mouth. I don't know what happens in that little, 3 feet section of baby, but it turns from like, oh, here's some carrots, into some toxic sludge that's just oozing out and covers everything. Oh, it's fantastic. So the baby fills the diaper, you roll it up and you jam it down this tube. Then you turn the handle, it's ready for another one. About 40 diapers later, the Genie is ready to pop out of the bottle. Now, man, this is not a happy Walt Disney Genie. I opened this thing up, there was an 8-foot stink sausage in her room. I tried to take it out to the trash, it looks like I'm leading the Oktoberfest parade. Big stein of beer, come on!
Folks, that was the one and only Mr. Brian Noonan. Here he comes. Let's give him a round of applause. My friend Brian Noonan, there he is, live in person. I had to play
it's unbelievable. Thank you, Lenny. Thanks for having me. This is very exciting.
Thank you. I'm glad you're excited. That's great. That's awesome.
I put on a collared shirt for the first time in 4 months. This is a big deal.
I like it. I'm impressed. It looks like where are you at? In your kids' room? Where are you at? In the corner? Right
no,
now?
This is my. I like to call it my office, Lenny. This is the hub of my entertainment and creative thing. There's some pictures back there. Give you a little glimpse. It's like I'm on the Today Show, and you get to see all my leather-bound books, which I have no leather-bound books. There's just some pictures back there and a window. The typical room layout that most people have in their homes.
The typical room layout. It looks like your wife sent you in there to stay for the whole lockdown. Is that
sent me in here, or I just came in here on my own because it's much easier to stay separate and then stay married. It's beautiful this way.
Did you like wander in sometime around April and not come out of there? Is that what pretty much what's happened?
No, she's working. She's been working from home since mid-March, so she took over the dining room. So the dining room is her office. I can't be down there. I can't be down in the living room watching TV during the day, because if I wander by and she's having one of her Zoom meetings, the other people she work with are like, who's that guy? So I kind of stay up here and do my thing, and then I go out in the back with the dogs, and I try. Here's the thing: if I make myself scarce enough, she's gonna forget I'm here, and then we can avoid a lot of issues.
That's brilliant. You're well. How long you been married?
28 years.
Yeah, that's 28 years of thinking right there. That's impressive. Yeah, that's pretty good. You don't come up with that after like 3 or 4 years. That's too much time
together where you go, okay, it's time.
That's the best, man. How are you, man? Am I correct that you're in is it the New Lenox area? Is that where you're at, or am I wrong?
No, we used to live there. We are actually in the city of Chicago. So technically, after I finish this, I'm going to have to self-quarantine for 2 weeks, because we are not allowed to go anywhere or see anyone or be anywhere near, because Mayor Lightfoot, she's put her foot down. She's not messing around. I'm actually afraid just to go out to take the garbage to the alley, because I don't know what's going to happen when I come back in.
Is that your rule there now in Illinois? Is that you're in shutdown? Is that the deal, or it's
the city is. The rest of the state, it's like a free for all, Lenny. Out in Coal City where you guys used to hang out, and you can do whatever you want. It's lawlessness. Once I'm actually only like 3 blocks from the suburbs, so I could go 3 blocks and start a cartel. I could do whatever.
Sure.
But here in the city, I have to be very, very careful. I can't go visiting. I can't go a calling out of state for more than 24 hours. It's tough.
Really? That's
I don't know how they're not going to enforce it. What are they going to do? Come to my house? You owe us $500. Go screw.
I don't know. Well, I live in California. It's a train wreck out here right now. We have, you know what I mean? It's like, well, you hear it's bad, and then you go out, and the bars are packed. And you're like, I don't understand.
See, I don't know how you've been doing it. I sometimes feel like I'm the only one who's listening. I'm not out at restaurants. I'm not at the beach. I'm not going, I go to the grocery store and I'm in a panic the entire time I'm there. Like, I have my list and I'm laser focused, and I got to get in and get out. And then I see everybody out, going, doing whatever the hell they want. And I'm like, maybe I'm the only one who's an idiot. Am I the only one who's, a little nervous about this thing?
No, some people are overly, some people just don't care. Some people aren't paying attention. It's just people just don't care. Yeah. Some people don't even know that it's still going on. They're like, "Well, that's still a thing." Like, yeah, it's still a thing. Actually, apparently we have the today or yesterday was the highest numbers worldwide that we've had since the beginning of this the whole thing. Is what they released.
Well, yeah, I've been watching you guys, and like things opened, and then they had to re-shut down, and that's kind of what the mayor of Chicago is trying to avoid. The fact that, and we've already had to roll some things back here, where now all of a sudden bars were able to serve indoors for a while, and people couldn't play nice. So now, sorry, you can drink outside, but that's about it. And it's horrible for all these businesses. Friends of mine who have breweries and stuff, everybody's suffering. But
well,
when people, like you said, when people think it's over, that makes it a little harder for everybody.
Well, there's a couple places here by my house that really don't care, and they get fined every time I turn around. And then, but one thing they did do, which really, man, these small businesses are really getting screwed. I mean, because they shut them down here, and then they go to open them up, and they give them all these lists of restrictions. And they go, here's what you need to open up. So it's a list of shit that they need. They need the plexiglass and all kinds of So they spent all this money hanging stuff up and getting a place ready. And then some places I knew were open for 2 days and then shut back down again. And they're like, the little money I had, I just spent to virus my place, and now I'm totally screwed. And now they're doing the LA City Council. This has been going on recently. There's a debate about this lately. The LA Signage Committee, I think that's what it is. The Los Angeles County Signage Committee is going around the city and writing tickets for people who are hanging banners without licenses. And almost every place is hanging a banner that says, "We're open now just for takeout. Come on by." You know what I mean? Like, especially dining places. Everybody's got a takeout sign, and everybody got hit with all these $350 fines, which is the worst thing I could possibly think of. And they just shrug it off like, well, it's an ordinance. Like, what do you mean?
It's ridiculous. We're supposed to support small businesses.
Yeah.
Unless you're the government. Then you don't have to support them. Then you just fine them. And, we'd support them if we knew they were open, which would be a sign, but you're not letting them put up a sign. So what are you doing?
Plus, they look the other way on the whole take margaritas home thing. You know, I can go across the street to El Torito and buy a pitcher of margaritas and walk back over here with it. You know,
that sounds like a plan. Why are you sitting in your house?
I don't know. I'm trying to wrap the show up, by the way, to get out of here. And get some margaritas.
All right, listen, I'm not offended at all. I could go for a pitcher of margaritas.
I was going to play your whole
myself.
clip. That's 30 minutes long, man. I was going to play. Let's watch Brian Noonan for a while. Come back and I got to.
Yeah, that'd be. Oh man, no, you played way too much. That was.
I had to play the Diaper Genie bit. First of all, A, that's a great bit. It's very funny.
Oh, thank you.
B, I hated that Diaper Genie. I hated that thing more. It looks good on paper. It's a great idea even when you get it for like the first few days, like this is brilliant. Then after like 4 days, you're like, we've made a terrible mistake.
Yeah, well, after 2 diapers, I got to keep emptying this thing.
Oh, it's the worst.
No, and it was one of those things that was down in the basement for years and years, and when we were moving, it was like, oh, why do we still have this thing? You know?
Yeah. Well, you couldn't carry it over. Like we had it for Anna, and and we put everything in storage. And we go, well, for the second baby, at least we got all the stuff. And we're pulling the stuff out, and I'm like, we need another Diaper Genie. And she's like, well, what's wrong with that one? I go, you want to hold it for like a minute? And she was like, oh, you're right. We need, and I don't think we didn't even use one for Lily. We didn't even use a Diaper Genie for Lily because it was just a
no. Because you realize it's just as easy to take every after a couple diapers, just take it out to the garbage. I don't need them. I don't need to store them in the house for one convenient trip. I'll walk a little. I could use the steps. I got my Fitbit.
Yeah,
I'll go out to the alley a couple of extra
steps.
times a day.
Why not? Yeah, a little exercise. Plus, if you want to grab a shopping bag, the old school shopping bag, the little plastic one, throw it in there, twist it up, walk out. There you go, one at a time.
Exactly. You're just flinging them over the fence at the neighbor's house.
How often is your kid shitting that you need to, you can't walk out to the driveway?
Our daughter was very regular, Lenny. I don't know about your daughters. Our daughter, a lot of fiber. A lot of roughage, as we used to call it back in the day. She was very, very regular. I don't know how she is now. I don't ask her anymore, because she's 23, and that would be weirder than she already thinks I am. So, but when she was a baby, top notch.
Good. All right. Fair enough.
Top 1%. Gifted, I'd say.
That's good for her, man. She should have that.
Yeah.
Is she married?
No, she is. She just moved back to New Orleans. She got a dog a week after she moved, a puppy. So she's married to her puppy now.
Okay. I was going to say she could put that regular as a baby thing in her Tinder profile.
Well, I don't know how much she may use it. I don't know. It's currency. Anything to help. Anything to boost your stock, I guess.
Boost your stock. That's true. Some guy flipping through. Whoa, slow down, dude. She
wow.
was regular.
I like a lady who can dump out.
That's fantastic. I wonder if she used a Diaper Genie. So, all right, man. So you're bouncing now. I knew you were I did your show on WGN a couple of weeks ago.
Correct.
Which was great, as always. It's a lot of fun.
Well, thank you.
But you're bouncing between 2 radio stations now. Can you talk about this, or is it supposed to be a secret?
Yeah, no, listen, there's one market is not big enough to hold me, Lenny. I am
You're a powerhouse. Yeah.
Oh man, it's I have my own little 2-station syndication deal.
See, some guys syndicate and you actually just go to 2 different radio stations. I like how you handle that.
I am the modern day Tom Joyner. He used to fly from Chicago to Dallas. I like to commute from my house to Milwaukee. It's exciting. It's a nice drive up 94. I get to stop at Kenosha, pick up some New Glarus beer on my way home. I pretend I'm Smokey and the Bandit coming back over the line. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of stuff on WTMJ in Milwaukee, I was on there this afternoon because I heard you mention in your opening there was supposed to be a baseball game. The Brewers were going to take on the Cardinals. The Cardinals, 2 of their guys came down with COVID, so the game got postponed. At 9:30, I get a call. Hey, man, can you do a show at noon? I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, of course
so
I can.
Prep the show, was on from noon to 3 there. I will tell you, I did not wear a collared shirt for them. Put on a collared shirt for you.
Dude, thank you very much. I'm very touched.
Listen,
dude, that's your money. If you can just throw a show together like that and do 3 hours, that's impressive.
Well, it's one of those things. I panicked right up till 11:59. I got on the phone. I booked a couple guests. I reached out to some baseball people, some other folks, and then it was a matter of I always have way too much, and everybody, I always have way too much stuff for the show. So it was nice. I got just enough, and my producer up there is real good, and so the show came off without a hitch, which was nice.
Maybe
I don't like.
that was a professional move on both our parts. Maybe maybe they know that you always have too much stuff, so now they've decided to call you at the last minute to make it easier.
Well, I did pull out a bunch of stuff from the other day that I didn't use, and I was looking through that, and I was like, if worse comes to worse, I'll use this. But I had enough. There was enough talk about today. You know, people. You were mentioning all the different sports. People wanted to talk about that, so we talked about sports, and we talked about the unemployment, the bonus 600 running out. There's a lot. Fortunately, there's a ton of stuff to talk about. Most of it isn't good, but there's a lot of stuff to talk about.
There's like very few good things. Even like sports came
there's
back.
Not a lot of good news.
Yeah, I brought up the basketball thing because that was the one thing I thought sports-wise went really well this week. After I saw and read about it, I was like, wow, that's great. Like they haven't had a positive case in 3 weeks in that little bubble they're staying in Orlando.
Yeah, and there was one today from the Kings that they thought had tested positive, but turned out it didn't. That's the secret. You got to keep everybody. That's why I don't get in trouble, because I never leave the house. So if you take my little bubble and expand it to the NBA, it's a perfect plan. If you don't let anybody leave, like if you have a dog, you don't let it out of the yard. Because if it gets out of the yard, it's going to do all kinds of crazy stuff. It's going to start humping other dogs. It's going to run away. It's going to get hit by a car. It's the same with us. If we're allowed to go out, bad things will happen. So,
oh, shit. Hang on. I got way ahead of myself. Sorry. I got excited. I was doing so well in the editing that I cut you out. Okay.
I loved it. I loved seeing it jump around. It's kind of like I'm having a seizure, but I know I'm not. So I feel safe, and yet I still feel anxious.
This show is not correct unless there are multiple mistakes during the production. So,
listen,
I'm just doing my part.
I operate the same way that you do. There's a laissez-faire attitude in the program. Because
you got all these big radio words, laissez-faire. Look at you, fancy.
Listen, that was high school.
Yeah, but still,
high school English.
You come over the fancy words, man. You got 3 hours.
Lenny, I don't know if you know this about me. I have a book in my house, just one. It's not mine, but there's a book here, and I may or may not have skimmed it.
Wow.
So that's one word. Honest to God, that's a word that I learned in high school, and I don't know why it stuck with me. 90% of the time, I'm like, steps. But now, I'll throw out laissez-faire like it's, like I'm French.
Yeah, but what does it? Does it mean? It just mean lazy or nonchalant?
It means kind of an easygoing. You let things go with the flow. So you're that way too, and it's great. Listen, we're not a network show. I'm not, I'm not big time smooth broadcaster guy. I'm not the big voice guy. I'm a guy who's going to talk about what I talk about, and if I flub it up, well, okay, that's good. We'll talk. If the dog barks, I'm going to call attention to it. If, when I was when we had the showcase studio at GN and we were on Michigan Avenue, I'm so easily distracted.
I know that was tough.
If somebody walked by on the street, I'd be like, oh, look at that. I don't care. I think it's more fun this way.
I love that studio, but I was blown away. I would do Patty show late at night, 1 o'clock in the morning. How many people would just stand there and stare at us? At 1 in the morning on Michigan Avenue. It's just creepy, man. It's like,
people don't see radio. They hear it, but all of a sudden they're walking by and they're like, wow, those people are talking. I hear them coming out of a speaker, and wow, what's going on in there?
Just blown away.
Oh,
okay, so you bounce between the two radio. First of all, I have a lot of radio. Radio blows me away. I think that is the hardest gig in entertainment. I think radio, because
you think so?
Yeah, I think it's right up there, because you know what? They can fire you in a phone call. I've seen it happen dozens of times. How many times has Bill Leff been fired out of the blue?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's great. They're good. It's a good show, but like, we're changing format. We're going to drop everyone. And you're like, what? And there's no warning when that happens to a radio personality or any type of host or anything. They just, unless you're like huge, and it kind of seems like the days of really huge radio people, there's not a lot of them anymore. You know what I mean? Back when we were growing up, it was a big deal, but everything's changed with the internet and satellite and all that stuff now. So, but back when I was a kid, it was Steve Dahl and, guys, Stern was
and how many times did he get fired?
Larry Lujak. Well, Dahl was always in trouble. You know what I mean? And Gary Meyer was his sidekick. And all those guys on WOS. Larry Lujak, Tommy Edwards, and,
Oh, yeah.
But everybody knew who they were. Kevin Matthews.
Those were the guys I grew up listening to that made me want to do radio in the first place. But to your point, you're exactly right. Even if you have a contract, there's no security.
Yeah.
Because, well, it happened. Bill Leff was a good example. It happened. Yeah. His show was doing really well with Wendy Snyder.
Yeah.
New owners come in. They want to do something else. Okay, we'll pay you off. It happens all the time. And now, over the last decade or so, with once deregulation came in and companies were allowed to buy 1 million stations, that's when things really started to go downhill. And so there's no security. I think I equate it with being a stand-up. Look at what's going on with every stand-up right now. Yeah. Well, there's no job security.
No, there's
and
no.
Radio, there might be a little, because at least, but again, you were right. The big contracts are gone. Those are history.
Sure, yeah.
But even if you have a contract, okay, you get paid out, but you still don't have a job. And then with things the way they are, it's a tough market. So it's like any entertainment field,
Yeah. Now entertainment's the Business Week show is just not a good. It's not a friendly.
Yeah,
business.
I want to go back if I could and punch a guidance counselor 1 or 2 times, and then. I'm not one of those people who blame my parents, but because my brothers are all like, capitalists. And as the oldest, because you're the oldest as well,
yes,
I wish my parents had said to me, hey, you know what? It's fine that you want to do something that makes you happy, but, maybe make a little cash along the way. That might be fun.
Because it definitely feels like you're always chasing. And
right.
And you were the guys, and you were one of those guys that when you got into radio, you were doing stand-up. Were you in L.A. when that happened? Did you make it to L.A.? I don't see.
Well, I did radio. I did radio first when I was just out of college.
Right.
And then I started doing stand-up and moved back to Chicago and was doing all that. And we moved to L.A. and it was all stand-up stuff and going out like everybody. The usual story, Lenny. It's a story as old as time, auditioning for things, getting a few things here and there, going on the road to try to make money. And then I had an opportunity. I saw something. There was a big thing at the Loop here, and anybody from Chicago remembers the Loop. That was where Brandmeier was, and Dahl. It was a powerhouse.
That was the badass rock and roll station. It was great.
Oh man! And they put an ad out that they were looking for a new morning show. Little did everybody know that they already had a morning show in their back pocket, but they did this thing, and so I got a studio through. The Love Master, Craig Shoemaker, right? He did, I don't know if he still does a radio show, but he had a radio show and a little studio in the back of like a comic book shop or something. And his producer said, yeah, I'd do it. And your brother actually was on it with me. Mike was. I put together a demo of so we went in and we did a fake show. And Jimmy Pardo was my guest, and Mike was the sidekick, and the young lady, I forget her name, she was on there too. And we put this together, and we sent it to the Loop. And the guy was like, wow, I really like this. And I came into Chicago, and I sent it to WGN as well, because at that point, a guy I went to college with was the program director. And they were both very nice. And the guy at the Loop was like, I'd like to meet you. Okay, that's great. So I come back. In the meantime, I'd also sent it to Steve Dahl, who showed some interest at the time. Long story, even longer. I come in, the Loop has decided they had already had Jonathan Brandmeier in their back pocket. He was the new morning show, but they were trying to build excitement and keep people listening until Brandmeier came. So to lose out to Brandmeier makes a lot of sense, and it was, I wasn't upset. Ended up going on. Getting on GN back then, and that was how it all started. And then because I was doing weekends and overnights, that kind of that's really when stand-up happens. So I wasn't doing a lot of stand-up or any stand-up during that time.
Right. Now you didn't have kids when you started when you did this gig, is that correct?
Our daughter was 3 when we moved to LA in Halloween of '99.
All right, that's why I bring it up. Well, it's one of the reasons I mention it, because radio is even harder, and this business in general is really hard when you have kids, because you're constantly hustling for another gig. And especially if you're just trying to get showcases and auditions. But you were a similar path. Like Billy Gardell was on your path. He was about ready to leave L.A., go back to Pittsburgh. He had an offer to do a radio show in Pittsburgh. I was going to go do that before he got the Mike and Molly. So
I would have stayed in L.A. for Mike and Molly.
Yeah, it was a different. Sure, if Chuck Lorre came to you and said, "I want you to do a TV show," maybe
I didn't poo-poo L.A. and go, forget about it. L.A. below. No, I would. I think L.A. was done with me. Made some bucks on some game shows, cashed in a couple things, and I think we had enough of each other.
I love how you make it mutual. That's good. I like that.
Conscious uncoupling, as Gwyneth Paltrow would say. Listen, I'm still great friends with Los Angeles. We talk every once in a while. I got no problem. I've gone back out there. We've had dinner together. It's been beautiful.
Sure.
But at that point, it was best that we separate.
Yeah, there's no hard.
That my wife wanted to leave because it was when it was that we left right after the fires. Because we got out there and we're fortunate we got a house and we were living up in Castaic. And the first time you see ash falling on your car like snow, it kind of throws you a little bit.
Yeah, it freaks you out.
I know you guys had an earthquake the other day.
Oh, yeah.
I was always gone when the small earthquakes would hit when we were living out there. And then I'd come home and Debbie would freak. Oh, my God, there was an earthquake. I didn't feel it. Because I was in the car or whatever. But the fires... The fires I saw, I was like, oh, look, they're right over the hill because we lived near Magic Mountain. And so they were coming. It was crazy.
Well, they're worse now because they're getting closer. They're getting closer to everything. And that, not just that, but the neighborhoods aren't great. You know what I mean? I mention this on the show all the time. I do Uber Eats at night. Right after the show, I run out and there's areas I drive in that are not great. And a lot of people are leaving LA now. Like there's a big thing. Rogan's leaving, and Joey Diaz just said he's leaving and getting out. All guys with families are getting out of here. Everybody with a daughter I know is getting the hell out of Los Angeles. And both my daughters just came back here, and I go, "Are you sure you want to stay?" I go, "Shouldn't we could leave. We can go anywhere you want to go. Just pick a place and we'll go." "No, Dad, we want to come." The only reason I stayed here was because they wanted to come back here. You know what I mean? Because
what is it that they find so fascinating about it? Because there's good weather everywhere.
Yeah, well,
or a lot of places, rather.
Most, my daughter Lily's a beach girl. They're both valley girls. They're both Lily's a beach girl. They love. There is a good. I mean, I like the vibe in LA. There's a great vibe in LA, but the parts of the city are just falling to crap, and there's a lot of not great things about it. And every time an earthquake comes, I really think about that whole falling into the ocean thing. It really crosses my mind. I don't know how true it is or real. I have had people tell me it's bullshit. It'll never happen. But I'm like, you know what? Anything can happen, really, if you think about it. I mean, look at this disease. No one thought we'd be locked in the house on a disease.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't want to be, 20 years from now having to go, do you remember the Great Quake, the one that knocked off a third of the United States? I don't want to be the guy.
And then L.A. floats away and becomes a prison, and Snake Plissken goes there, and you got to get away from some guy with a lot of horrible plastic surgery. I know what the future holds. I've seen the movie.
I would take the island with Snake Plissken. I'm worried about falling into the ocean. I'm worried about what an earthquake comes and suddenly I'm like I feel like I'm floating. You know what I mean?
Well, you're in the valley. You'll be okay. It's just Malibu that's going to fall into the ocean.
It's a big but then if you know how science works, Brian, when the land falls into the water shoots back and then comes back in. It's like a tsunami. When the water's gone, you're like, oh shit, there's a tsunami coming. That's what'll happen when there's a big quake. Malibu falls.
I shouldn't have been so laissez-faire about my science studies. That's a problem. Now I don't know. Boy, I feel bad. Thank you for explaining the tsunami phenomenon because I wasn't aware that if Santa Monica fell into the ocean, North Hollywood was going to get swept away. I can.
It'll be a big wave of water will come in. I'm telling you.
Suddenly, everybody in Rancho Cucamonga is saying, "Oh, I'm going to have beachfront property."
Yeah,
they're very excited in the Inland Empire.
People in Bakersfield are very happy. Yeah, Bakersfield's excited. They're like, "Oh."
Dwight Yoakam is beside himself with joy.
That'll make meth the number 2 thing in our city.
Bakersfield is a depressing place.
It's not. I just saw. I know. I was there. I I saw Kiss in Bakersfield a few weeks ago.
Did you really?
Well, a few weeks ago. It was the last concert I saw. The one
I was going to say, where are you going?
Yeah, it was a secret concert. We're not supposed to talk about it. I wasn't supposed to mention it. I did blow it. I'm the worst. All right, I'm going to say hello. Hey, my agent's here. Steve Smith is here. Always working hard for his 10% of nothing.
Oh, very nice. Listen, I'm available for representation. Long distance.
There you go. Brian's looking for an agent, Steve. Let me tell you something, dude. If you need someone to do nothing for you, Steve crushes it. He's really good.
That's fantastic. That's all I ask of my representation. Just do nothing. Because, let's be honest, Lenny, if they're working real hard, they're probably going to get you a job. Then you got to leave the house and work.
Well,
When ships were
sailing, he was my favorite person in the whole world.
Oh,
Every
yeah?
time my phone rang, I was like, yay, Steve is calling me. So I was very excited.
Yeah, I heard you got we were supposed to be getting off a cruise ship today.
Oh, no way. Really?
Yeah, we were going to go for the first time ever. My mom had decided, I don't know if she robbed a bank or sold a kidney. I don't know what happened with my mom. Last year, she said she wanted to take everybody on a Disney cruise. And I was like, you realize, one, we're all grown.
Yeah.
Two, most of your grandchildren are grown. There's three little ones.
You bring your 23-year-old daughter on that? How's she?
Right. My
excited?
daughter's 23. My one niece is 16. And then the other ones are Disney age, like first, second grade and kindergarten. Well, no, that's what my mom wanted to do. And we were like, okay, well, if that's what you want, you're 83. I don't know, whatever. So we were supposed to go. And then, then everything happened. But this was supposed to be the week we were on the cruise.
Oh,
so right now I'd be getting off with Mickey Mouse ears and,
Sunburn.
bad T-shirts and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, a lot of bad
and
T-shirts.
A horrible attitude.
A lot of these. Well, no, you have a great attitude. Well, yeah, you'd be going back to work. That might be rough.
Yeah.
You know
yeah, anytime a vacation ends, you have a bad attitude.
Yeah, I noticed that today. My daughter was in Arizona for a few days and just came back today. And we dropped her off at work, and she was in this pissy mood. And my youngest daughter's like, what's wrong with her? I go, she's got to go back to work. She's an adult now.
Yeah, her vacation's over.
She's living the world. She's doing things that you'll be doing in 5 or 6 years. That's what happens.
It's adult time.
Yeah, you enjoy yourself, and then you got to go back to the bullshit you do on a daily basis. That's pretty much.
Wow. There's a downer for a Friday night. Just killed everybody's mood.
That's all right.
How are you doing, folks?
Cancer. How you guys doing? Brenda wants to know if we ever worked together. Yeah, Brian and I'm sure. I don't remember a specific time. Yeah, there were numerous times we did. I'm sure we worked together at the old KJ Riddles and.
I'm sure between there and the Barrel of Laughs, and I know we did a couple. Like one-nighters throughout Wisconsin together. I remember because It's funny. You and I are both, like I mentioned, the oldest of 5 boys. So there was always a lot in common, and it was as I was very cognizant of going. Boy, we talk, and we both talk about our family. We talk about all kinds of stuff. So it was like, oh man, I got to make sure I'm not talking about what Lenny's going to talk about, because even
right.
It was because you and I, a lot of people have stuff in common, but when you have that specific kind of stuff in common, it's like, oh my God, what are you going to tell people after? No, I have 4 brothers too, and I'm yeah, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
So. Yeah, but it was we worked together many times.
Yeah, so that's why Brian would be one of the guys I would watch all the time if he went up first, and vice versa, because that's the deal. You got to be aware. It was more of an issue back then. Obviously, it changes after you get married and have kids and all that stuff. But early on, there's so many similarities. You're like, I better make sure Brian doesn't do that one bit. And I was never a big believer in saying don't do this or or asking someone not to do a bit.
Yeah.
I always hated that. So. And if someone asked me not to do something, I wouldn't do it just out of respect.
Did you have people actually say that to you? See, I heard about people doing it. I never actually had anybody ask me. I had one guy, a pretty big name guy, go to management because he didn't like that I did some crowd work.
Yeah,
so
okay, I've heard that before.
He was like, he gets them all revved up. So I was like, oh, okay, I won't talk to, And I did a lot of crowd work. I still do because it's kind of like this,
Yeah.
But yeah, he didn't like that. But I never had somebody come up and go, hey man, don't do that bit, because I do a bit like that. And like you, I would never ask somebody to do that because it's your job. If you're closing the show, it's your job to follow whatever's in front of you.
Yeah, it's exactly, you took the words out of my mouth. That's what I always said. I said, if you can't follow the guy before you shouldn't be closing the show. That's kind of the way it was.
Right.
The only time I made an exception with that, and I think I learned that as time went by, was if you're getting close to, if you're working on an album or a special and you need to work on a specific bit, and I would understand. I go, oh, you're right. Then I won't do anything about turtles because you got this turtle thing you got to tighten up for the special or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? That I would
Well,
understand.
that makes sense. And then you realize, well, this guy's not being insecure. He's not afraid of what he's doing. It's a legit excuse, a legit reason. So I'd respect that.
I have asked guys before if there was, but I've always got the opposite. I've always worked with guys that were like I opened for Louis Black in Chicago once at Zany's, and I go, is there anything you want me to stay away from? And he goes, the waitresses. And I'm like, oh, all right, okay, I can do it, no problem. And he was like, you can do whatever the fuck you want to do. And I'm like, okay, thanks a lot, Louis, I appreciate it. But he was one of those guys.
Well, yeah, because Louis Black is going to be able to follow anybody who's in front of him.
Yeah, right. And he was a real comic.
And the crowd is there to the crowd's there to see him.
Hey, no one's there to see me. It's just, you know what I mean? I'm the guy that's killing time before Louis hits it. And he was such a great guy to work with because he also was like, he's a real comic. After the show, we sat around and talked about Yoder gigs and Tribble gigs and, you know, every other shitty gig he's ever done. So he's just great at what he does. And he really didn't care. He's like, I'll do whatever you want me to do. So
yeah, I'll be honest, that's the part of being off the road that I miss the most. The condos and all that were garbage. It was horrible. Yeah. But hanging around, and more often than not, the people you were working with, you could at least, most of them you could have a great time with. Some you could just tolerate. Very few were like, man, I got to go to my room because this guy's an ass. But I miss the just hanging out and telling stories and comparing nightmares, you know? Yeah. It's that part that's the highlight of the business, I think.
Well, I think also, because I've mentioned this before, hanging with comics is great. It's easy. It's great. I could talk to comics all night, literally for hours. Like, if you're a comic, I can talk. I always talk about talking to the straights or the civilians. I have a harder time sitting around with somebody that's not a comic for an hour or two because I'm like, I gotta go. But a comic could sit around and talk about anything for hours. Just a mindset.
Well, and with a comic, they know that you're joking. They get it. They get that that's our minds work a little bit different. Sure. There's going to be a lot of sarcasm. There's going to be ball busting. There's going to be, you know, takes that are not politically correct all the time, and they're not meant as anything but, you know, just being who we are. It's a safe. Talking to comics is safe for other comics.
Yeah, it's totally safe. It's very safe. Yeah, because we go places other people wouldn't really go. Well, we get pretty dark.
Which is probably good.
It is good. It's get out of our system. Everything's fine. It all works out fine.
Right. Now we can go home and, you know, talk to our wives. And, oh, how was the show? Good. What'd you do? Nothing. You just talked for 3 hours to you know, a table full of idiots as you were eating pancakes at PJ Clem's in Lyons, and now all of a sudden you're home and you got nothing to say. I got nothing to say.
Got nothing.
Yeah, I'm all talked out, honey.
Plus the wives and even the daughters now at this point. I don't know how your daughter is. I don't know how your daughter is as far as your acting. Like I picked Anna up from the airport today, and something happened on the show last night that it was really messed up. But I kind of fixed it and saved it, and I was like really happy. I was like really proud of myself because it was I had Rick Overton on who I wanted to get on, and then I thought I was going to have to cancel, and then I was able to save it. So I was editing it today, going, wow, shit, I did a pretty good job. I'm actually really impressed. So I pick up Anna to tell her. I go, hey, your dad's really proud of himself. Guess what he did last night? She goes, let me guess, you had a good show. I go, yeah, well, not really. She goes, yeah, that's great, Dad. And she's on her phone. And I'm like, oh, shit, I'm sorry I bothered you. I didn't mean to.
Yeah, really. Sorry. But we ask about their day, and we're supposed to be in rapt attention. Oh, really? You got a mocha? That's fantastic. And how was that? Oh, you paid with your cash. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, my daughter, I had asked her Wednesday nights on my Facebook page, the Brian Noonan Show Facebook page. My producer, Cody, and I do the Quarantine Cast. So Cody was not able to do it Wednesday night, and I had asked Molly if she would want to co-host. Because I've talked about Molly since she was a little kid on the air. People know her. I thought it would be fun. She didn't want to do it. Okay, that's fine. So I do an abbreviated version myself. Thursday morning, I get a call, and it starts with, hey, just so you know, the hullabaloo. I don't know if you can see that banner over my left shoulder that's hanging on the wall. It's a dark green banner.
Yeah.
It's got a Tulane cheer on there.
Okay.
I thought it was the fight song, but you know, so somebody asked me in the show, hey, what's that banner? And I told them, and I read the thing. Next day she calls up, you know, that's not Tulane's fight song. It's just a cheer. So I want to correct you on that. I'm like, okay. Well, one, I didn't go to Tulane. You did.
Yeah.
Two, I don't care. Three, I asked you to co-host. You could have corrected me during the show, but you chose not to.
Yeah.
And then she went into a half hour of shaming me on my facial hair and my the hair on my head. So it was a great call, Lenny. I felt so good about myself afterwards that I went out immediately and was looking for anything else to do.
Dude, you have a similar relationship with your daughter like I have with mine. But both
yeah,
of mine.
they just I don't know. I know she loves me. I know she thinks what I do is cool, because every once in a while it'll slip, or a friend of hers will say something to her and you can tell. But overall it's like, whatever. Yeah, we're just speed bumps in their life.
Yeah, right. Well, especially when they get older, they don't care anymore unless they, of course, the old joke is when they need stuff. They always talk to me when they need stuff. And you can tell immediately. They're always very sweet, and they're like, "Hi, what can I help you?" Blah, blah, blah. My youngest picked up a habit of calling me loser recently, which which
that's a nice habit.
Well, she's joking around, and I get it. And after a couple of days, I go, "You know what? I'm not good with that."
Yeah,
I go, I don't like a loser. I go, can we have another nickname that you call me besides loser?
Yeah, I get it. If you once or twice, like as a joke, okay. But that's not, we get enough of that from the real world. We don't need that from the people that we brought into the world.
Yeah. She comes she'll come walking in the door from being out during the day. Hi, loser. I'm like, okay, we need to talk. This isn't exactly.
Yeah. Now, how old's your youngest?
Well, she's 16. She's 16 years old.
16. That makes more sense.
She's kind of she's on the verge of doing this influencer thing, which is
okay. What's she influencing?
Herself, I guess. I don't know. Kids on the TikTok, but she did a TikTok. She always does a TikTok and gets a ton of hits, but she did one 2 or 3 days ago, and comes screaming in the dining room like a maniac. Someone famous duetted her TikTok. Have you heard of this? Do you know what this is?
I've heard of TikTok.
Okay, TikTok. Well,
I don't know. I'm guessing duetted means they copied it.
Yeah. Well, they kind of, like, we see how there's two of us on the camera right now. There's two of us on the screen. Well, they'll take your TikTok, and then they'll play themselves next to you reacting to your TikTok. So it's like, every line, he's like, whatever. And she just lost her shit, and she shows me. And before I know it, she's got like 50,000 views. And I'm like, holy shit.
Holy cow.
I'm like, this is insane. I go, I have 18 people watching the show right now. You know what I mean? That's my social media reach. But she always, every time she puts something up, it's always a ton of views, man. She just crushes it constantly.
Now, let's be honest. When you were starting out in this business, do you think it was good or bad that we didn't have this kind of social media?
Well, I think it's probably both. Because it would have been better because there's more things I could have done. Because first of all, I had way more, I spend a lot of time on social media now, way more than I want to,
Right.
And I don't want to. So I could have got more done earlier. However, I would have been in trouble a million times over for a million of the things I did when I was in my 20s. And, there's stuff to this day. I'm like, I'm really glad there were no cameras around back then. You know what I mean? There's just, or even
I agree with that part 1,000%. There wasn't a cancel culture back then, but I probably would have been part of it. I would have been canceled time and time again.
It would have been invented immediately, and that's even that. Yeah, we need a cancel culture to do something about this Brian Noonan.
What does that mean? I don't know, but read this.
I don't know, but we need it immediately. It's not even just videos. People could tweet something I did. You know what I mean? Like Lenny Schmidts threw over the railing of the high school, and suddenly it's all over. Because here's the thing with these kids that if you do something in high school now, like when we were kids growing up, if you just screwed up and you were a shithead and your parents could pick up and move a few states over, and you could start your life over, and you could be a different person and go to a different school, and everything's different. Yeah. Here, you can do that for about a day till everybody finds your shit on social media and shares it, and now you're the same schmuck in Nebraska that you were in St. Louis because everybody has your social media tags.
Yeah, it's insane, and in that way, I agree. We didn't have to worry about it. Like you said, if you did something stupid, the people who were involved knew about it, but other than that, most people didn't find out about it. But it made trying to, publicize yourself for work that much harder. Remember sending out postcards and all these people putting stuff on tables to get mailing lists going.
Yeah.
And now, and you probably remember when Dane Cook decided he became this star because MySpace. And people are like, man, that was the start of it all. And now, now all the PR is done on social media. So that part of it, I think, is great because you get to do this. You get to dig up some crazy clip of mine and put it on your show. And then I saw the other day you had when Mike was on your show, you had some weird HBO video gaming
when Mike was 7. Yeah, I got all that
debacle.
stuff. Yeah.
So it works out nicely.
It does work out nicely, but this way it goes. Also, I still stand behind what I said about yes and no, because now the social media and contact comes before the talent and the material. Like a lot of people, there's a girl in L.A. I'm not going to mention her name because I don't like to sandbag anybody, but she has a press release. Have you ever seen anyone that does a press release? You can do your own press release. Okay. There's a whole way you can do your own press release thing. You do it through a system, and it comes out as a press release.
No, there's companies or systems you can release your own. Well, I know what they are. I haven't done one.
She's got this press release that comes out every few weeks, so I get emails and all kinds of messages about her shows and all the important things she's doing. And she's terrible. She's terrible. She's not, it's not good. And I see but I get a press release every other week, and I'm like, I don't do press releases. I don't understand how
you
this is
do a press release. That's the key to it all, Lenny.
Is that the key to everything? That might solve
it's the key to everything. There's no such thing as bad publicity. Just bad press releases from bad comics.
Yeah,
that's the old saying. That's how it goes.
Is that the same?
What does she say? Hey, I'm going to be doing an open mic at the coffee house down on La Brea. Is that in the press release?
They always make it sound better than it is. They go headlining in Hollywood again for the 18th consecutive month, and you're like, it means you're closing the open mic at the coffee shop at the corner of Pico and 4th. That's what that means. And so
Listen, I don't know who this woman is, but she sounds fantastic.
She's great. I can get you tickets, dude. I know somebody.
I would love to see some of her stuff. Well, I don't leave the house, Lenny. I don't. And I have a complicated relationship with L.A. So.
Oh, that's right. I don't want to bring that. That's a sore subject again.
Got to be a lot of notice before I drop by. I can't just pop in whenever I want.
L.A. is going to have to beg you to come back here. I agree. I'm with you, man. I'm with you 100%.
It's very tough.
I'm with you. All right, I'm going to take a look. Sometimes there's questions on here from lots of people that are watching. Now I'm watching 2 different feeds. I have people on YouTube and Facebook, and they're bouncing back and forth.
I'm uncomfortable with all the platforms.
I know.
I like to be on one platform, preferably a street corner, just yelling at people as they walk by.
I'm trying. Well, if there was any money in the street corner, I'd be doing it.
There is. I just don't think you want to commit fully to what the street corner money has to offer.
Yeah, but this time with the COVID, it's not the safest line of, you know what I mean?
That's true.
That's true.
Money's a lot lower during COVID time.
Well, money should be higher.
I've heard
about it.
I don't know.
A lot more. So a friend told me that the money's not so good when it's like that. I'm eventually going to cut down to one platform. I think I'm just going with YouTube. I've been looking at Twitch lately. There's another one, Twitch. Are you familiar with the Twitch?
I know this is where most of the time I try to stay abreast of everything, and I feel like I'm not out of touch. But I know the term Twitch. I have no idea what a Twitch is, other than if I get really nervous and my face starts to jump around.
Well, isn't twitching also the thing the girls used to do when they danced with their hips?
That's twerking.
Oh, it's twerking. Okay.
That's twerking.
I really meant that. I wasn't kidding at all. That was serious. That's how sad that was. I was totally serious.
Is Twitch a video game? Is it a platform?
It's a platform. It's a live. It's a live platform that you could do something like this on, or what's really popular is people play video games, and then people watch themselves playing video games, and you can superpose yourself down in the corner. You know what? Mike does it. My brother Mike has a Twitch channel.
Yeah, I've heard him mention it.
Yeah,
but
he does.
I'm like, okay.
And it's
people
cool.
watch other people play video games.
Yeah, and my buddy Todd, who lives he lives in this building across the pool. He does it, and he showed me his channel the other day. It's pretty awesome. He's got a superimposed face in the corner that looks like a skull, and it's him talking, and he's got a green screen in his house. Everything is a production now. It's like life. You know what I mean? Everybody's life is a production or a show, and they somehow.
Oh yeah, we're all in the Truman Show.
Yes,
the whole,
it is.
The
yeah.
whole world
the
is
world
the
has
Truman
become
Show.
the Truman Show. Exactly.
There's,
and you know,
and are you the same? Where if you meet somebody who says they're not on Facebook or Twitter, so you're like, what's going on with you?
no, I envy that person. I'm like, oh, I
Do
wish I
you?
could be you. I wish you could. I don't want to do all this. If I wish I could retire right now. Right now, Brian. I would go and do nothing. I would do nothing. I wouldn't be.
You want me to finish up for you?
Have you finished this up? Yeah.
I'll wrap it up for you if you want. If you need to. I don't know. I like all this stuff. I use it, but there's a part of me, especially the last couple of weeks, I'm like, I got to get off social media for a while. I got to stop reading Twitter. I got to stop looking at Facebook because it's devolved into nothing but people screaming at each other and horrible things. And then I get upset because I'm like, how can some people be so stupid?
Right.
And
Right.
that, I agree with, and I don't want to be the guy who only agrees with people who think like I do. I used to try to have an open mind. Sometimes you can't have an open mind. You just go, these people are lost. You got to go.
Well, you can't debate with them either. I always make the mistake of going on Facebook and going, oh, I have a reasonable version of this. Let me explain it to you. Type it out.
Reasonable thought.
You're an idiot. You're a moron. You're stupid. You're dumb. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. I thought we were debating here. Shut up, moron. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, remember when you actually had to walk up to somebody to argue with them? I kind of miss those days. I got called the most horrific thing because when I'm doing the radio show, we have a text line. So I see the texts as they're coming in. And last week I was filling in for a guy on WTMJ, and honest to God, I started the show. It was opening day. So I started the show. Hey, it's Brian Noonan in for Jeff, blah, blah, blah. It's opening day. And I threw to an interview with one of the brewers. Within that amount of time, I had talked for maybe 48 seconds total. I got the most horrible text calling me the most vicious names. And I'm like, first of all, you're wrong. Secondly, these people now wouldn't say, if they saw me on the street, I guarantee that guy would have never said and it could have been a woman, I don't know. That person never would have said those things to me. But now we're all emboldened to say whatever we want to people. And so there's no reasonable debates, Lenny. That's why I love you, because you're so pie in the sky. You've got such an optimistic attitude. You're a man who always sees the glass as half full, where I see the glass as a potential weapon to jab into somebody's neck.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well put. I'll think about that the next time I want to make a comment on Facebook.
Yeah, because what's there? But I almost did it today. I saw somebody post something so ridiculous, and I went to type something, and I was like, no, don't. Why? No, why are you bothering? Don't. Go iron your shirt. You got Lenny's show tonight. Go iron that shirt and get ready to do the show.
Let's pull out the flannel and make sure it looks good.
That's
good.
Plaid. I like a nice plaid shirt. Looks good on camera.
Well, I always think about it looks good. Apparently we match. People keep saying we match. Is that true?
We do have this. There's a little teal turquoise thing going on in both our shirts.
All right, because people keep mentioning that.
This was not planned, though. I know people look at you as an independent thinker. You did not plan this out with me. You didn't send me any guidelines for wardrobe.
No, I didn't. Well, you know what? I let you do your thing, man. I figure you're on radio. You know how to dress.
Sure, I know how to dress for radio.
That's perfect. That's exactly
dressing
what I'm
for radio
about.
is the easiest thing. You dress for radio in the dark. Then you just show up and hope that your pants are on front ways, so the fly's not in the back.
Oh, man. All right. I want to do this real quick. Let me see if I can do this without screwing it up. Let's plug some of your stuff. You sent me some pictures. I want to talk about, you don't just do a radio show. You get a podcast and you got all kinds of stuff going on. Is that correct?
Listen, I'm trying to embrace this whole multi-platform thing. I want to be the archduke of some mediums. We've got a few things in the hopper. What do we? Oh, that's the quarantine cast. That's what I was talking about earlier. Every Wednesday night at 8:00 on the Brian Noonan Show Facebook page. I'm on there with my longtime producer, Cody Goff, and we pretty much do our radio show on Facebook Live. So that's Wednesday nights at 8 on the really Brian Noonan Show page.
Impressive. That's nice, man. That's good. Wow. Whoa, that didn't come out.
Oh, socially distant. Yeah, that's on YouTube. See, I am going to many platforms. That's
yeah.
It started out every day, and then I realized that we're all in Groundhog's Day, so every day is too much. So now it's like 3 times a week. It's I try to keep that upbeat. So it's like 5 to 8 minutes of me just oh wow, look at you. Very nice.
This is how we do graphics.
Yes, socially distant.
I actually hold paper, yeah.
So if you go to Brian Noonan's my channel, my channel, Brian Noonan on Facebook or YouTube rather, you can watch. I'm just so flummoxed by your special effects prowess there.
Thank
Putting
you.
that paper up, it was the most impressive thing I've seen so far.
High tech. We're all high tech here.
That, and I got to ask, because I've watched all your episodes, is that Big Kahuna case just for a prop? Is there beer in there? Does it get replenished? Is it just that you like the scene on the case? Because I'm a fan of the beer, but I'm wondering if you're just like, oh, it's like a set piece. Like if we walked into your place, if it feels like I'm walking onto the set of Mike and Molly.
No, that's a real case of Big
yourself?
Kahuna. I actually just bought that at Costco. This one is new. I've had this is the second
right.
case I've had in here. The other one was cans, and this one is bottles. So they have the new grapefruit IPA in there. So
Is that right?
yeah, that's what
A
I was.
grapefruit IPA.
And I went
So
out and bought
fancy.
it a few weeks ago because I heard there's going to be a beer shortage. That's what I heard is coming next. Is a
There
beer
better not
shortage.
be.
Yeah,
Because I'll put up with a lot,
right.
but I will not put up with a beer shortage.
All right, that's what I hear.
I've
is
got
next, 'cause
that's you know I do that. So yeah, so it's Quarantine Cast Wednesdays on Brian Noonan Show on Facebook and Socially Distant on Brian Noonan YouTube channel. You can do that, and you can hear when I'm on the radio. You can listen from anywhere on the globe via the internet. So oh man, I'm too accessible, Lenny. That's what we're learning right now. There's too much of me out there. I need to be a little more selective with my exposure.
No, you got to be out there everywhere, man. You got to.
You
got a
think?
23-year-old you got to take care of. Yeah.
No, she's not. Listen, she moved from the ultimate hot zone of Manhattan down to another hot zone in Louisiana. So she's out. She's like a storm chaser. She's a virus chaser. She's just going wherever the virus. I wouldn't be surprised if she's back out in L.A. pretty soon.
Well, you drove her down to New Orleans a few weeks ago. Is that correct?
We did. We took her down. We actually. This was talk about an extraction. Her lease was up, and she had decided she wasn't going to renew her contract in New York. That she wanted to leave Manhattan. She was not. She was living in a closet. Everything you hear about New York apartments is really true, because her bedroom in this apartment was no wider than my wingspan. I can't really do it because there's a wall here. But imagine my arms spread out, add 2 inches. That was the width of her room. Okay. It also was a room that some roommate or other had to pass through to go to the bathroom. So there was really it was a room in description only.
Staying in
it wasn't
a
a real
hostel?
No, unless it was a really high-priced hostel. So she was like, I'm going to move. She told us in February. I'm not, they offered to extend my contract. I've decided I don't want to stay. I'm going to move back to New Orleans. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Well, at that point, I didn't realize it was going to be me hauling to go into New York in the middle of a pandemic and loading all her stuff and then trying to hightail it out of there before I got infected.
Yeah.
So we arrived in Manhattan on Friday night at 5:00. She lived on the upper East Side, not far from Central Park. Very swanky. Rumor was that the building across the street had been owned by Madonna. That was neither confirmed nor denied. But she was in this tiny little 4th floor walk-up, and I said to her, Molly, I'm happy to come and help you, but I'm not hauling stuff up and down 4 floors. I'm an old man with bad knees, and that's not happening.
Right.
So I don't. Have you ever used TaskRabbit?
No, what is that?
It's based. Yeah, it's an app. Well, look at me. All of a sudden, I know something about the internet.
Yeah, smart. I like it.
No, I'm not. I learned it through her. You go on. It's an app, and you can find people to do odd jobs for you, and they're reviewed, and they come. And she had a guy come and put in the air conditioners at her apartment, and So I said, well, why don't you see if a TaskRabbit will come?
Oh, it's another part.
And it'll only take
gig economy.
You book them for an hour. So she booked 2 guys for an hour. They had everything down, and they'd bring it down. I'd load it into the truck, and so we got to Manhattan at 5:00 Friday night. We were on the road at 10:00 Saturday morning. I didn't want to mess around.
Yeah,
this is how weird it was, and this was the end of April. So when New York was in the throes of this.
Yeah.
I stood in the middle of Lexington Avenue at 82nd Street, in the middle of the street at 5 o'clock on a Friday, zero traffic.
Wow.
Nobody.
Yeah.
It was like I Am Legend. All I was missing was a German Shepherd and a zombie. It would have been fantastic.
Like a lion running by you. Yeah, right. Exactly.
Oh my, Lenny! There were tumbleweeds, there were zombies. Your logo actually was printed on everything.
Sure. Yeah, it's all over the place. Right on.
Oh, the whole city was a hazmat. And then we walked out. We walked down the block to get a pizza, and everybody's looking at each other like they're potential carriers. It was unbelievable. So we got her out of there, and then we packed her up and we took her down to New Orleans, which at the time, a month ago, was doing pretty good. Well, in the month since, Louisiana and New Orleans have backslid and things are not going well. So we were going to go down in a couple weeks, and we've decided, we're going to wait, because then I don't want to deal with the aforementioned quarantine when I come back.
Right.
Because I have to be able to at least leave that. Even if I don't want to leave the house, I have to be able to know that I can leave the house. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Like if they told me I couldn't leave for 2 weeks, I'd go absolutely nuts. I may not leave for 2 weeks. My wife may have already barred the door here in the office and just start sliding very thin food under the door.
You have no idea. At least she's sliding you thin food. That's not too bad.
Well, she's nice. But 2 slices of turkey a day doesn't really, it's not working.
Doesn't do a lot for you?
No. And the little pot in the corner is filling up, let's just say.
Oh.
Yes.
You know what?
I'm
With
trapped.
That, I think that's how we're going to close this interview. I think this is the best.
With a chamber pot reference?
Yeah,
okay. All right. Well, listen, I'm very busy. I have to go iron some more shirts. I may get asked to do another program sometime soon.
You never know when someone's going to call you and they need to fill in time to, know the baseball game gets canceled. You
That's
have no
right.
idea. What
being prepared is the key to my existence.
Is there anything else you want to plug besides? Do you have a slot at WGN, or are you still bouncing around doing?
I'm still bouncing around, but the best place to follow all my shenanigans is the Brian Noonan Show on Facebook. Everything is there. You can follow Brian Noonan Show on Twitter. So we're cross-pollinating. I'm everywhere, and yet I'm nowhere. I'm very elusive and enigmatic.
I'm everywhere, and then I'm not. I like
That's
it.
right.
Like a magician. It's very creepy.
I was here, then I'm gone.
Then I'm gone.
Just like this. I was here, and in a minute, I'll be gone.
And he will be
Thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun, man. I really appreciate you asking me.
Thanks for taking the time to be here. I appreciate it, man. I know you got multiple radio stations. You got a lot of work going on over there, man. I don't want to.
I've got a lot of. I got to learn how to twitch and tick and talk and all the other stuff. I need to influence somebody, Lenny. I don't have time to be sitting around.
I'm sorry. All right, get back to your stuff, folks. That's Brian Noonan. Everybody, give Brian Noonan a nice big round of applause. That is my good friend.
Thanks, Lenny.
The one. Thank you,
Stay
buddy.
well,
Take
man.
it easy. I will, man. Stay healthy.
Bye-bye.
That is Brian Noonan. It's great. It was a great interview. Very few mistakes. I made 2 early on. I like to keep track of them. Let's see. I had a couple of comments. Someone asked, Tammy, I do live in. It's like a Melrose Place type apartment complex. That's what most of the places in L.A. Really are. Gar, you are correct. It is bottles and cans that they're running behind on now. The kegs they ran out of a while ago. What else? Well, let's check YouTube. A lot of Larry Warden telling me message. Oh, you took messages down. Okay, I have a face. Brenda has a face for radio. Larry Warden, Twitch requires more streaming time. All right, man. You guys are the greatest. You've been great. That was Brian Noonan. He's a very good friend of mine. And thanks so much. This is a great interview. Thanks every Monday through Friday. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We're here at 6 o'clock. Facebook and YouTube Live for now. We're going to keep doing that. I'll figure out different platforms. Let's see who's here next week. Let's find out, shall we? It's a big week next week. We got a lot going on. Let's see. First of all, we go back to the cruise ships. Kelly Terranova will be here on Monday. You can tune in and see my friend Kelly Terranova. He will be here Monday. And Tuesday, of course, the one and only Mr. Tom Dreesen will be here, as I mentioned. One legend, Tom Dreesen. And the very next day, on Wednesday, another legend, Larry Reeb, will be here on Wednesday. And then Friday is my good friend Lang Parker, the young lady comic here in L.A. from Wisconsin. Very funny young lady. You guys tune in next week. We'll try to work the glitches out. You guys have been the best. Again, if you want to support the show, feel free. Right there above my head, you can go to my Venmo. You can do all that. Here, I can put this in front of it again. Look at that. Oh, look how official. That makes it worse. Okay. So check out the Venmo Lenny Schmidt Comedy, or PayPal Lenny Schmidts Quarantine Comedy at gmail.com if you feel like sponsoring the show. If you're a Patreon member, which I know a lot of you are, I have not sent out an email this week, and I apologize. I will do so immediately after the show, and we will shortly discuss, and I will set you a link for tomorrow's meeting. Tomorrow's a writers' meeting, and then we have to have a conversation tomorrow about Patreon. And I guess that's about it. You guys have been great. As always, thank you so much. It's been great. It was a great week. I was very excited. We're going to work out some kinks as times go by. We'll see what we can do. You enjoy your weekend. Take care of yourselves. And as always, do me a favor, please. Dream of Pinky.
Lenny Schmidts Quarantine Comedy is hosted and produced by, Lenny Schmidt, duh. If you enjoyed today's show, like the video on YouTube, give it a thumbs up or a way to go, or whatever the most popular social media thing these kids today are doing. It goes a long way and it really helps us out. Check the description below for info on all today's guests, as well as the host. If you're a fan, you can follow them, like them, or even support them. Go to their site or page and hit their Venmo, PayPal, buy a shirt, an album, a download. Anything you will spend will literally help save the arts. In fact, if you want to support this show, just go to Venmo at Lenny Schmidt. It will help pay for all the stuff that my dad keeps breaking. Lenny Schmidts Quarantine Comedy airs on Facebook Live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Each show is recorded, then uploaded to YouTube and released as a podcast the very next day. Also at 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Everything's 6 p.m. We keep it simple. That's all we can handle. Thank you for listening to my dad's show, and as always, dream of Pinky.